Mina olen Liis.
Good afternoon. My name is Liis. In Excellent, I have worked for more than 2.5 years. The change that has happened is that from the end of last year, I am focusing now on projects related to automation. By today, I have had 78 of such projects. On average, it has taken me 2.76 hours. Within this time, together with the customer, we look at their work processes and make working in the program more smooth, easy, and more automated. I am not going to talk about new systems today. I will tell you how to use this existing software and how it could do the work better for you. Do you work for the software, or is the software working for you? In these projects, these projects have convinced me that none of the companies do things in the wrong manner. Companies have their own habitual workflow, what they follow year per year, and it's suiting them well. In these workflows, however, they have activities that people do every month, every day, manually. When we look at the simplified journey of purchase invoices, I get a PDF file, I enter it into the software, go to the bank, I enter the payment, it's confirmed, and then I'll go back to the software and enter it to the registry of received invoices. This is not one activity that I did manually. These are repetitive activities which accumulate every month, and the most critical thing is that we never measure how much time they take. It is understandable that new solutions, new developments are uncomfortable to us, strange to us. It is easy to remain in our comfort zone. Now, when we look back in time, when business software was not widespread at all, accounting was based on double entry with T accounts. This is what I learned at university. It was time-consuming and annoying. It had so many opportunities for mistakes to occur. I am quite sure that none of us wants to use T accounts as accountants. It is such an elementary thing that when I confirm the purchase invoice, then suddenly I have a financial entry in the ledger, in the main ledger, with in the right place. I am sure if at that time accountants were said that once you confirm the purchase invoice, then you have the entry done to the ledger. It's elementary today. I think most of you in this hall don't know where to set it up in your software. The debts to suppliers, input income tax, and so on. Manual labor is an actual cost. Workforce costs are high, cash flows are slower, mistakes occur, and double entries. Financial information is not reflected in real time, but today we live in the world where everything could change in seconds. There can't be a situation where the company's data are not presented in real time so that I wouldn't be able to make relevant decisions. Manual labor cost is 10 to 20 hours per month. It is not made up. These are the hours that I discovered in the 78 projects that I have carried out. It's 1 to 2 working days every month. It's spent on repetitive tasks, repetitive entries that we do automatically every day. Today, different e-invoices have been discussed. I would like to underline that automatization is not about just accepting e-invoices or activating bank interface. It is an important part, but today you have the software that could reduce your manual labor based on its capability, the software's capability. If we don't think about it, then we also don't analyze the process, and we are not using the existing functions. There's always a person or human who does the job. But the problem is not about not having the solution. Today, based on my experience, is that the solution is not switched on. Now, looking at this slide, there is nothing new. This is on our webpage. It's been shown in different presentations. It shows all the functionalities that you have in your software that wait to be activated. But still, why do they do manual labor either in the program or in Excel sheets? I have a story from a customer, and it kind of reveals the answer to the questions I had in most of the projects, and I will tell you about it later. Software cannot create value just because you have it in your computer. It can only create value for you when you reorganize your processes. I can say for sure that the problem is not in software. Problem probably lies in where or how I use it. The process is the same as I indicated before, using purchase invoices as an example. But here it's automated. PDF comes through e-operator to the software, then it goes to the bank, and bank and software communicate. 15 minutes become 15 seconds. And I didn't do any manual entries, not to mention double entries. Now, once we know how the money goes out of the company, let's see how the money comes in. Sales invoice journey in a simplified chart. We draw up the invoice, send it to the customer. It has a deadline, and then we'll wait it to be paid. But the actual job or tasks start when the invoices are not paid at the right time. Then every day we have to keep an eye on the deadline, draw up reminders, calculate the late fee. Then you send the invoice with late fee, notifications, balance statements. This is where, based on my experience, most of such manual labor hours occur. What is the saddest thing is that it takes place every month. Here, the same journey is given, but there is one difference. The difference is about who does the job. In this case, this is done by the program. Drawing up the invoices is the only place where I actually give an input to the program. If my company offers services or contractual invoices, then this can be automated as well. Invoices are sent out. There is the deadline, payment date, and then payment is received. I don't have to be the deadline police anymore. The program keeps an eye on this, and I don't have to send out reminders nor check the receipt. And these invoices that are not paid, then you need to set it up just once in the program so that the program would know to send the notifications by itself. For example, if I want that on the 10th of the month, a soft reminder would be sent out saying, please pay the invoice, maybe you didn't receive it. Okay. If the customer doesn't react, then on the 17th of the month, the program automatically sends a little bit tougher notification. And if the customer still doesn't react, then eventually they send third level notification, which might indicate that this is not my job. I will give it over to the agency that collects late fees. All of the other invoices that were paid at the end of every month by 10 o'clock, I want these late fee invoices to be sent out. I don't want to think about the rate of late fees. This information is already entered to the program, and this is sufficient. And eventually the program also sends out balance statements. In this process, I don't need to interfere at all. It's not happening when someone remembers it. These automated background tasks are taking place always at a certain time and exactly when and with the conditions that I have set up. So We can use this similarly in other modules. Let's say I have 200 employees. In 1 month, all of the data that I have received have been entered to the program. And once the payday arrives, I don't need to interfere to the program. Program can draw up to all of the 200 employees their pay slips, confirm them, draw up the payout papers and send them to the bank, and eventually email to the employees their pay slips. Or if the employee is using the portal themselves, they can go and check it themselves as well. Or the module for fixed assets. How many of you has the reminder at the end of month to create entries for fixed assets or amortization? I had it for years. But once I have said to the program, this is my fixed assets, and the amortization should be 20% each year. So this entry has been done by me. I don't have to set up a separate notification to remember it. I would like to underline that automating is not about external functional interfaces. A lot can be done within the software already now. And once you take this journey upon yourself, then what happens? Manual labor disappears. You still have the control over it. And once the data is controlled, we can analyze. And through analysis, we can make adequate decisions. Automating processes doesn't mean that humans are lost from the process. We become more valuable, actually. In all of the projects where I participated, there was one thing in common. None of the people in the projects told me, please remove this tick from the box, I want to do it manually. And the result is that we free up 10 to 15 hours per month. You can spend this for more valuable activities or more time for yourself. And as a bonus, in your accounting, you have less mistakes. Company cash flows become quicker, and you have the ability or capability to make real-time decisions. But we could also choose another route. If nothing changes, will it remain the same? No cost. I can live on peacefully. It's not true. If we change nothing, then every month it has a hidden cost to the company or to the business. And the hidden cost comes from slow workflow, lost time on extra work hours, and from mistakes. Company pays every month this hidden cost. Once again, this is an area where all of the 78 customers I have communicated with, once again, none of them has measured the cost, but we have seen it clearly in every project there is a cost. And if we don't measure it, then we continue paying such a cost. Now, the promised example. I had a really good customer. Let's say that her name was Maria, a really good accountant, detail-oriented, 10 years of experience with software. But during our first meeting, she said, every month seems like the end of month. It seems like all of the days in a month are the end of the month. And we know that end of months for accountants are busy times. And now when we started to look at her work processes, it became clear that purchase invoices were entered manually by her. Invoice notifications were also manually done. Balance statements were done out of the program. Everything was done perfectly. Accounting was perfect. But underneath was a problem. It lacked a full picture. None of the processes were thought through from the beginning to the end. She worked on the parts that worked, and they did work and function. But when I asked, why do you do so? The answer wasn't that you can't do it differently. The answer was, because this is what has been done always. And it was done before I came to work for this company. This is the main reason, which I also understood from these projects, is that they don't change the processes because this is how it was always done. It's comfortable It's a comfort zone, but it could be different. How many Maria processes do you have in your work which are not really thought through from the beginning to the end? I'm sure you all find one. Once you have found them, then there's nothing else to do than begin. First of all, let's start with mapping. You don't need to rush and activate everything. Review what are your bottlenecks, and probably these activities that you like the least are the ones where you do most manual labor. Then pick one of the activities. You don't need to do everything at once, and then automate it. During automation, you can test, you can learn, and you can move on. The process will start working in itself, by itself. Automation is not like the city of Tallinn that you can never, that that it will be never ready. But we can begin with something, and the beginning depends on your decision. If you wish to receive help from us, then we have this web page. You can log in, immediately leave your data, and we can come and help you. You don't have to do everything on your own. Sometimes it's helpful to have someone else's point of view if you're too much in the system yourself. The question is not should we automate. The real question is how much or how much time are you going to spend to pay for tasks that can be automated? We have heard about many interesting topics today, but when you leave, when you go back to your work process, and when you think about what you do every day in front of your screen, is there something where you could create the value? Or is it something that the program could do for you? Thank you. Liis, I just wanted to say that don't rush away. There are questions, there are many, and some are a little bit philosophical questions, but there are some practical ones. If you had to say it in one sentence, what is the biggest mistakes today that businesses do? Easy to say that they never check or don't pay attention to it, but in real world, I think everyone try to reason how to be more efficient, how to get best results. In this context, what goes unnoticed in your opinion? Very often the managers have the big pictures, they have their vision, where to move to, what to improve. But if we look at specifically the accountant or whoever does these activities every day, then the manager doesn't know, and they don't have to know what are the exact steps. Where does the information come from or is entered in, and what is happening later? These detailed steps, this is where this is the area that goes unnoticed sometimes. And a very smart question now, or maybe you don't think so. Are there processes that shouldn't be automated, or with which it's good to have a human being involved as well? Automation as a whole starts with the human being. The human being has to say to the program what to do and when. In my eyes, automation means that I'm not doing these repetitive tasks, but I have to check. I have to check whether these balance statements have been sent out. If it's not how it's supposed to be, I can go back and change the setup. I can make it nicer, but it should be done in a reasonable manner. You can't do everything at once. There are companies where they think that they should automate everything, the work of 5 people, but it causes chaos. You have to have time to get used to it, to test. Now your knowledge and experience is going to be tested. It seems to me that there is a potential customer that's thinking about it. I don't know if these numbers are exact. How much time does it take to to create annual report for a company with 40 employees and 10 million in turnover. It's a construction company. So I'm not sure if, let's say, they maybe said 40 because they had 29, but maybe they don't even have 10 million in turnover. Maybe it's 6 million, actually. First of all, thank you for this question and really wish you success because the economy is what it is. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't like to say any specific number here. It really depends on how much has been changed by today, how ready their employees are about to these changes. Well, the system is a bag of cement and papers. Neighbor, carries it away and gives invoices as a physical person employees. But invoices are automated. Well, maybe the invoices are automated, but the car is still manual. A gearbox is still manual. It's that kind of a company. Well, I hope they win this Clio rights for a week. Okay, so you don't want to say comment this. Well, you have the experience. If they want to change the processes fully, what could be the win? How much time would they win, or what would be? Well, 10 to 15 hours per month still. This is the time that is freed up. And I think such a company has systems already that I didn't use in my presentation. You can always have tailored solutions that do things even better. But I think they should come to our stand. We can discuss, and I'm sure we'll find the answer to the question. Maybe you should have this anonymous, area. People don't want to tell their data exactly. They might feel so uncomfortable. Maybe you can have a seat where they can be anonymous, and then you can later remove the curtain or whatever separates you, so that at least they could be anonymous at first. Yeah, maybe. Well, thank you for this presentation and for these answers.